Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Oh, that's how bad it's gotten.
It's just been like I don't know. I've been doing the math of like, okay, so got this, then this thing, then this thing. And then like this morning it hit me where I'm like, I'm gonna have a slow week in like November. I mean, there are worse things. I will say that.
Yeah, wait, why did you say it like that?
No, I will take it. I will take it all day long. It's just a lot. In the
Is
moment
this
when
what you
one
want?
it is. I can't say I do I contradict myself? Fine.
Always.
I contradict myself. I am complex. I contain multitudes.
Don't you have a date with a really good friend of ours very soon that
I do, yes.
would be very lovely for the professional repertoire?
It will be. Um, and there's other stuff. It's all good. It's all good stuff. It's just it's tiring. And when one sits down and thinks about it all in a 30-second span, one is overwhelmed.
I know, and I'm even like leaving you alone for a couple weeks.
When one spreads it out and looks at it in the bigger picture, one feels much better about things.
But and the timing is all very lovely because I'm going to be like out of your
Right.
hair.
And but when one has all these things, one doesn't also like one is talking when one was woken up by a dog at 5:30 this morning and could have slept in because there was no school. This is what one is dealing with. One is trying their best. Sometimes one fails and one apologizes.
Okay. One should not call oneself one, or one shall
That many times?
henceforth never be allowed to write about Richard Burton again.
Yeah.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
So, what was the impetus? The book is filled with so many great stories, and it goes in directions that I never would have guessed in a million years. What was the impetus to write this story now, where you're like, I need to get this down on paper and share this with folks now?
Well, a friend of mine who was my editor at the newspaper I worked at said, you better write your story before you're dead. And for
Oh, so
whatever,
optimistic.
a
So,
very,
yeah.
so for whatever reason, that just stuck with me. I mean, as you may or may not know, I've been writing this book for decades, um, starting in my mid 20s when a guy named Ike Williams approached me. He's an intellectual property rights attorney and agent in Boston, and said, well, would you write a manuscript? And, 23, 24, it was such an obnoxious manuscript, I'm sure, very self-centered, no perspective. And, it did make it to a couple of editorial boards, but nobody bought it. So he sold the rights to Warner Brothers, which always just cracked me up. And they kept the rights for 5 years. And then my story didn't really have an end. So they, let them go. But so, it's always been in my mind. And people are always would remind me, when are you going to write the book? When are you going to write the book? And um, so I thought, yeah, I'm getting old. I better do it now while I still have a mind, you know?
It's,
The first volume. See, this is where I
yeah.
differ. Like, let's just write the first volume.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, because this was a pleasure. No, I won't. That's a lie. I was going to say that. I was going to say it was a pleasure to write. It's not a pleasure to write. It's really hard to write. It's a lot of suffering and a lot of work. But I love the levity and the playfulness and it was so that part of it, the content was great to dig into.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't really know if I want to dig into anything else, to be honest.
No, you
I
don't
don't know. I
have
mean,
to
there were a
write.
lot of agents who requested the full manuscript and said, well, we'll take it if you write the rest. And I said, are you paying me to do that?
Right.
I said, no, I'm not writing the rest.
No, you don't have to write the rest. I'm just saying this whole before I'm dead, before I lose my mind. I'm just saying that you have more
Yes.
volumes. Whether or not you want to share them
Right, right.
is up to
Right.
you.
Yeah, that it would be a whole different level of hard work.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
And hard cash.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So when you were writing it, because I can't even imagine, and my story has nothing on your story at all. Not even, and I can't even fathom at any age, like you said, the hard work. Where, I mean, how? Like, where do you begin? How do you begin? And what do you even have in mind with it? Do you think of it as the movie? Do you think of it as the book? What do you? How do you even do it?
Well, I mean, I think because of the Warner Brothers thing, I always had it a little bit in my mind, but I'm not good at thinking cinematically at all. So I just started, I thought my background was an important backdrop. So I
Yes.
started there and I just, produced, the horrible first draft of 800 and something pages, that and then you have
Mhm.
fat to cut.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the very, I don't know, I guess probably the last draft that, that saying, oh, you'll find your voice. And I always thought, I don't think so. I think that's just such a, that's some sort of idiom that really isn't real.
Right.
And but it's real because boy, when I found it, my sassy self, that was great. I'm like, there she is.
Uh-huh.
And
Like,
it
all right.
took off. Yeah, yeah.
And she's great.
Yeah, she's pretty sassy young woman, man.
It's like, where were you 800 pages ago?
Right, right, right. Exactly.
I think everyone has some moment where they kind of ask themselves, how was I born into this family? And, the feeling that you don't fit in, you don't conform. Um, you kind of go there and beyond. Was that something that you always felt like I just don't fit in with this lifestyle and this outlook on the world?
Well, I think, when I was younger, like all of us, it being all I knew, I think
Right.
the first inkling I had was probably in kindergarten when I saw other people's like existence. And but even then, I didn't really think much about it. I just knew what I liked and what I didn't like. And I didn't like being restrained, obviously. And I wanted to explore. And so anything that got in my way, whether it be the family norms or whatever, I just figured out a way around them. And then when I got older, it wasn't until I left my home when I was 16 that I did realize how I didn't really like that culture, or I wasn't comfortable in it, or I didn't want to follow that. Because remember, my parents, it's not like they sat down and said, "Here are the rules."
Hmm.
They were busy doing other things.
Right.
So
And it's so fascinating that I don't think it's luck. I don't know what it is, good fortune, but you seem to, every step of the way, it turns into this next experience of like, okay, well, I'll do this for a little bit. I'll try this.
luck,
And
pure luck,
very,
absolutely
very
luck.
open and just, I mean, just as a dancer in the combat zone, like those two phrases together should not don't always click very nicely.
Right.
And it's just, did you realize in the moment as you were doing some of these things, like, I don't know how this happened, but I'll just go with it? Or were you just too busy living it to really stop and
I,
analyze it too deeply?
I think I was just too present centered and not really focused on what was ahead. Because I probably would have made different decisions if I had been. Hmm.
Yeah,
Is
it's just,
is that something you recommend to other people?
What? What?
That just to live your life in the present and just go with it?
Well, I mean, that fit with my temperament and my
Hmm.
situation. As far as what fits for other people, I don't really feel like I have a right to say. But I
Yeah.
will tell you that I've 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 done a number of book clubs, which I could just do those forever. They're great because they're very intimate, and
Hmm.
each group is very different. But the one commonality is that all of the women end up saying, I wish I had broken the rules a little bit more.
Interesting.
And now they're couple of them are focused on dealing with their adult children who are living to please them. But that's a totally foreign concept to me.
Yeah.
but and they don't, the parents don't want them to do that. They want them to find their passion and go have a life and explore the world. But so yeah, I don't know that I could recommend.
Yeah, which is so interesting because there's so many people, adults I know, who do live to please their parents. And as you said, the parents don't want them to please them. But then those of us who do break the rules, I think the parents do wish that we pleased them more.
Yeah, you lose either way.
You lose either way. So you may as well just do what you want to do. One way or the other, just be who you want to be.
Right. It's your life, it's your time, and it's pretty short.
Yep. And you're either going to do it right or you're going to do it wrong. And you better hope there's another chance at it one way or another.
Right.
So have fun.
Yeah, have fun. That's key. That's key. That I would recommend to anybody.
Yes.
And there's so much fun in it. And when you're describing your work at it's the Naked Eye, and was there
The
another
Naked
clip
Eye.
as well? The idea of doing a whole routine as the Pink Panther, to my mind, doesn't strike me as sexy, but maybe I'm watching the cartoons wrong.
It wasn't.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
Did anyone say to you, like, really? You sure about this one?
Well, the woman that made the costume and her husband, they were aghast, and she was always trying to talk me out of it and, trying to be a showgirl or whatever. But I didn't really think of myself as sexy or non-sexy. I was sort of too young to grasp that concept. I just, again, wanted to have fun. And I thought it would be, it was the pink cage that I inherited that really got me thinking, like, well, what am I going to do with this? I certainly am not going to have a midget, as they were called then, and, and do that whole thing. Like, that's bizarre to me. I just
right. And the club banned animals in the X.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the snake escaped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you keep in touch with any of the women, because they're so well drawn?
Yeah, I do.
And I'm using the word women, not girl.
I noticed.
You keep in touch with them, and what is their reaction? Because I think in this book particularly, and I think you see it in other memoirs similarly, but they're treated with such respect, and the idea that they have a plan. Maybe it's not your plan, but they have a goal, and they're doing this for something, that they're going somewhere, that this isn't a dead-end job. What are they up to now? What have you, what
Well, there's one woman I've kept in touch with the longest. Her name's Lori, and she wrote a book very early on called Naked is the Best Disguise. And she went on to get her PhD in women's studies at Suffolk and became a dean.
Wow.
And and then she moved to Arkansas, she's still a dean there, University of, but we've always stayed in touch. And when she was a professor, she would invite me into her women's studies classes for a little bit of a debate about whether or not I was being objectified and, subjecting myself to being oppressed, yada, yada. And then she and I ended up like going on Phil Donahue together and a couple of other talk shows. And the producers would come running out and they'd say, "This is great. Argue more. Great for good TV, right?" So I feel close to her. I haven't really kept in close touch with other women. I sort of, heard where they ended up, and they, the ones I heard about anyway, ended up in, good careers. One woman became an opera singer. Another became was in the Navy and also was a canine police officer. So yeah, you're right. It was a goal directed event, like a career, not even a career, a means to an end. For me, not so much. I had no idea really what I was doing there, except having.
But like, I mean, that they were able to do this, and I'm sure there were things holding them back, and you don't want to put that on a resume, or if you do, you're going to expect to get judged. And you were very much making your bread and butter with your articles and the other things in the press of saying, like, I'm unashamed of this work. Let's talk about this.
Right.
Everyone knows what they're doing here. If
Right.
everyone's get exploited in their own way, who's getting hurt? Um, but did you ever kind of have that feeling that sounds like your parents had of like you are forever sullying your name and you will never get that back?
Oh, well, not till much later when,
Mm,
oh no, when I was in my 5th year of a doctoral program and my advisor approached me and said, "You lied on your application." I'm like, what? Well, I was going to put that on my application for a doctoral program? Like, no.
right.
But, they were going to kick me out because I didn't put that on there. I guarantee you if I had been, a trash collector, it wouldn't have been important.
Right.
Mm.
So yeah, it wasn't until much later that I saw what people had warned me about. Um, yeah.
And then one of the other thing, and I'm sure every single talk or interview you do asks you this question, so I feel like this is just a prerequisite. Has Yusuf read the book?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Um, no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't mention a thing about us.
Mm. Well, I
That
mean,
would,
it seems
that would be safe for him.
there's a lot of things going on there as you're reading it that I guess don't make him look very good and stringing you along and such, and the whole relationship of like maybe how your adoption of Islam is
Mhm.
also fascinating, and the welcome that you receive from the imam and the whole process of preparing to go to pray.
Mm.
The way it seems in the book, like it was a very okay, well, you want me to do this? Sure. Did you feel some sort of greater, I don't want to say religious conversion or experience, but did you have something greater that kind of resonated with you to the
I
point?
did. I don't think I could have named it, but it was something pretty vague, something powerful. It was very powerful.
Hmm.
Now I think about it, it would be like if we stopped 5 times a day and meditated, we'd be different people. We'd behave differently.
We'd be better people.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly. And
Right.
that's sort of what it was like. You had to pause um and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I had that experience. Uh because such a misunderstood religion, as we know. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm. Do you still practice that or some form of prayer or meditation of the ritualistic nature of it?
No, I should, but I don't.
I
I
don't.
I it's on my, sticky notes of things to do, but
Right.
um, I think being outdoors um is for me probably the most important connection I have to that level.
Hmm.
Um, and like I banned birds. Um, and having a bird in your hand, a live creature that's so small, like basically a balloon with feathers, and just learning about the order and the organization and the patterns that they have. It's pretty amazing. But I've gone through various spiritual explorations, I guess, and I don't know. Organized religion can be fun. I mean, I'd never say no to somebody said, "Oh, you want to come to church with me, or you want to come to the temple?" Like I feel like it's all got good stuff if you want to
Mm.
take the good stuff. Yeah.
But
So,
I agree. My grandpa was a minister, and
oh
he used to say, so this, he made his money as a minister, and he used to say, whatever gets you closer to whatever your God is, then
yeah,
that's
whatever it is, right?
whatever it
Like,
is. That's what works. So if it's holding a tiny bird, if it's sitting on a beach, if
mm,
it's whatever it is, then you're at church or you're at temple or you're wherever it is. So I practice that, and that's what
yeah,
you're saying, and I think that's
yes,
right. I think that it makes sense, right? If we believe in any whatever higher power, we can all agree
right.
whatever that is whatever did it. So that's what
Yeah,
we're doing.
yeah. I mean, we've made such a mess of things as
Oh God, yeah.
humans, and then you go out in nature and I mean, every single thing is symmetrical and perfectly ordered. It's sort of like,
Right.
whoa. I also do
Crazy.
believe in the use of hallucinogens to also
Well, sure.
sort of reshift or whatever.
Right.
Not that
Whatever.
I've done that yet, but I'd like to.
I agree. I haven't
Yeah,
either, but I do get it. I do
yeah,
think it could make it amazing.
yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. So I think whatever makes it work and makes everybody peaceful,
Right.
let's do it. Let's do that.
Let's do that.
And let's be happy and screw the rest of them.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
not,
Agreed.
see, we
Maybe,
solved it
yeah,
all.
perfect. Maybe this is too far a stretch. And please feel free to tell me if I'm really grasping at straws here. Um, but do you think the kind of embracement and acceptance of nature and recognizing the power of nature and your sort of comfort with nudity as being part of this, just this is all nature together. This is how we
Maybe.
are. If is why it was never an issue for you and why you didn't seem to be as uh
It's possible. I never thought of
scandalous.
that. That's an interesting thought. Um, Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I have to also put responsibility on, the more Germanic side of my family. And, that's
Hmm.
a very sort of German way to behave, is to be fine with, I mean, that's a huge stereotype, um, but maybe it's possible. I, I mean, yeah, I still don't see the big hairy deal, really, of
Hmm.
nudity and the way look what it's done to us, look what it's done to our culture and just the way we behave. And oh, it's just,
It's
we all have
exhausting.
elbows, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting as well, the way you talk about the customers and the, I guess, clientele of the naked eye, that they've all got their thing that they
Yeah.
are and it feels, at least with your approach to it, n not transactional as a let's have a conversation, let's have a moment, and
Mm.
maybe you get a lobster out of it.
Yeah, right. The lobster
Um,
guy. Yeah.
was that the overarching? Because I feel like again in books and in movies, the dancers are always treated as women kind of coming and saying like, I'm here for 3 hours, I'm going to make as much as I can, and let's fleece these guys, in this sense that they are just,
Right.
whales in the gambling terms.
Sure.
Do you think that was the normal approach that most of the dancers had, or which one was more prevalent? The kind of your approach of like, we're just going to hang out and have a conversation and
Well, I think because it was such well, I mean, Boston was a smaller city. The neighborhoods were smaller neighborhoods. The clubs were smaller clubs, and it was somewhat intimate. And the customers would hang around, and so it. I mean, look, I started because I needed a job,
Mhm.
as most women did, I believe. But it was hard to avoid getting attached to certain customers because they were characters and so interesting, and even those that were so different. um and there were certainly annoying customers that you just avoid them, or that's fine. But yeah, I think it just was the confluence of like two things. You go, you find a place to work, you start working, and then it's this intimate environment, and then that makes the job a lot more tolerable and a lot easier and more interesting, for sure.
What was I'm trying to remember now, what was your music that you usually dance to, and what did you prefer?
I mean, it's a huge range. I mean, so I've always had like such a huge expansive genre interest in music. So I mean, I guess whatever fit the costume and the show, for starters.
Hmm.
And but that could be anything. That could be Manaheim Steamroller, or That could be, I didn't like pop. I didn't like songs I heard all the time, constantly, like, because I got tired of them. But, and whatever songs went with the show. And then, the fourth song was always the negligee song. And that was where you could get pretty intense with the music and the lights and the smoke and kind of lose yourself in sort of this trancey sort of state. So,
what were some of the good ones for that? Yeah.
The one that stands out.
Well, let me think. So, Romeo and Juliet by Dire Straits, not, often
okay.
B-side, that has a great, like, drops and rises. So I liken it to more, EDM music now, melodic, but with these building. In the Air Tonight was a fantastic song, even though it was popular. So Romeo and Juliet, I'm trying to think what else. That's the one that pops right into my mind. Now I'm thinking of like Levels by Avicii and all those songs I would dance to had they been out. Right. Swedish House Mafia.
Yeah, well, that was my follow-up. Like, well, what would you do now? So you're right there. So
I mean, I love like bluegrass. I don't know if I dance to it.
That would be amazing. That'd be memorable.
It would be memorable.
But there are some.
You could have fun.
There are like, Old Crow Medicine Show or like Wagon Wheel.
Right.
Yes.
Right. For sure.
So, but yeah, I think I'm one of those EDM people that nobody will go with me because they don't know what it is. So if I ever go to a concert or a festival, it's usually by myself.
Or you just got to come here. We all will go with you.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right. That's the deal. I'm telling you. Love it.
Private Dancer by Tina Turner, on the nose.
Yeah, on the nose.
Okay, well, just
that was sort of too, and too much. Like, and then, the owner had a thing about show tunes, which was, it was kind of difficult to dance to show tunes because I couldn't really emotionally connect with them because that's the thing. They were like the music that you use for the costume to present the costume, but I like the intense songs much more, like, than that. So, I have a Naked Eye playlist on Spotify, and which is fun, just to hear.
Oh yeah, that's awesome
songs,
for sure. Did anybody have to do Always Something There to Remind Me?
That was a good song. It was a little industrial, but I like that song. Like Tainted Love. Is that Tainted Love?
No, wasn't that was wasn't that by Naked Eyes?
Naked Eyes.
Yeah, the Naked Eyes.
Yeah. I feel like you had to do that in the in the club.
Oh yeah.
So,
but Tainted Love would be a good one too.
Right. But like Sweet Georgia Brown, like people were like, that had to dance on the stage behind me. Who wants to dance to Sweet Georgia Brown? Well, it's a perfect song for a Southern belle.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to ask who was dancing to the show tunes because I can't really see a dancer being like Wells Fargo Wagon from Music Man. Let's go.
Well, like 42nd Street, the Chicago.
Okay. Chicago would work. Okay.
I feel like Chicago would be what I'd want to do, if anything.
So 42nd Street, was long, and there was that one dancer, Giselle, who had ballet training, and she could throw her legs way up, and she pulled it off. I liked Ain't Misbehavin'. That's one of my favorite Broadway shows.
Yes, that'd be a fun one.
That was fun. But they were hard, and I don't think the customers always connected necessarily with the music. But sometimes.
So what your thing is, I dated a lot of guys in high school who would have definitely connected to the show tunes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was the theater world.
It was
a theater family. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, I tried some stuff from Godspell, Jesus Christ Superstar. Like I was always willing to experiment, but basically, yeah.
And so what made a good song? Was it that rise and fall, like you mentioned with
Yeah,
Romeo
like
and
the
Juliet?
drops and sort of the building and then holding back, and then the unpredictable but melodically not unpredictable.
Hmm.
Yeah, so much more so than the lyrics, I think, was the arrangement, the production, of the music. And keep in mind too, like, so I have this problem with certain songs, that my limbs, like, it's the weirdest thing, like, tingle to the point where they feel like they're like gonna fall asleep or get numb.
Oh gosh.
So for example, like, there's a song called Greyhound. It's just this is so random, by Swedish House Mafia. I can't listen to it while I'm driving because my legs get numb. It's the weirdest thing in the
Oh
world.
wow.
Yeah. And it's
That's
not
amazing.
unpleasant or pleasant. It's just like, okay, I'm driving.
Yeah.
Can't. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah. But
One of the things you always see in media is our dancers. I mean, from Honora to
mm,
Flashdance. Is
yeah,
there any film or book that you have seen where you go, okay, that's like a honest portrayal of the people I knew back in the
never.
day?
Not
Never.
even close.
Once.
Warner Brothers would be wise to get back in touch with me now,
Seriously.
Yeah.
because no, nothing close. It was a different time. I don't doubt that doesn't exist or didn't
Hmm.
exist. I mean, I did go into some other clubs. What was the really well-known club in New York City? If you said the name, I'd remember it, but I can't remember now. That seemed more commercialized and, yeah, like
Mm.
what I've seen in movies. But no, and it was a very sort of specific time
Hmm.
before we had lap dancing and that sort of thing. um you had to have a show, and it was a different culture, and it didn't last very long, because I did go back and work at the Foxy Lady in Rhode Island to pay for my grad school. And boy, that was totally different. I was shocked. I was like,
Mm.
oh,
Was it the
yeah.
buffet?
The buffet.
Did they have a buffet?
No, but they did have legs and eggs,
Of
which I
course,
Of
found
yes, I was
really
gonna
course.
say,
quite
yeah.
funny.
That is funny.
But it was constant running and running. I mean, you were on your feet. There was no discussion about shoes, no shoes. And there were 50, 60 women a night. And it was exhausting is what it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I made a lot more money,
Mm.
so, but still it was very tiring. Yeah.
Looking at
Mm.
your social media posts, it seems like you're having a really good time with this book and getting it
I
out and
am.
sharing it with
It's
people, and seems
awesome.
to be getting a great response. Are you
Mm.
are you as having as good a time as it looks like you are?
Yeah, I am.
That's
I
awesome.
really am. I mean, I didn't anticipate the reactions. I didn't really know what to anticipate, to be
Mm.
honest. I mean, that's hard to do when it's a story about your life.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't sure how it would be received or how even relevant it would be. And I certainly didn't think that the relevance would be, wow, we're living in dark times. We need to have some fun. Like, I
Yeah.
never could have gleaned that from the content. I just couldn't. So,
Mm.
I remember when the first person sent me the photograph of her with the book. I'm like, oh my gosh, what a great idea! And I know, like, Jimmy Fallon does it now. I know, but it took on a life of its own, really.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, like, seeing you know the people that I haven't seen since sixth grade, and that sort of thing.
Hmm.
But but now I'm starting on the bookstore, Barnes and Noble stuff. I know I knew I had to do that. I just sort of put it off just a little. Yeah.
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 But because I have to expand beyond regional eventually. I can't
Mhm.
stay all safe and cozy in New England. I have to
Yeah.
grow it.
Oh, it's interesting you said that the way that going to book clubs and having the conversations, that it gets it's a more intimate conversation.
Mm,
Um, I could see people also using this book as a way to sort of either own part of their past or say, like, I need to change some things in my life. Have you seen that?
that yes, and I thank you for reminding me. At each book club I've done, there has been at least one person that all of a sudden starts spouting a story, and the people around her who've been in the same book club for 20, 30 years say, "You never told us that story," which I just think is so cool.
That is
You
so
Yeah.
know,
cool.
I mean, just all out of nowhere. Uh, they tell like a story from their past. It might be a little like mischievous, um, that kind of thing. You know, this
Mm.
one woman told a great story of how she and her friend, I think they were like in fifth grade, somehow went swimming in a river and they had to go home and they didn't want to get in trouble. So they broke into their neighbor's house, put their clothes in the neighbor's dryer, and wore their bathrobes while they were waiting for their clothes to dry. I mean, completely harmless
Right.
and nothing compared to what people might do today, but like kind of interesting,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's,
Awesome.
it's
They
wonderful.
almost become like group therapy, and
Yeah.
and then it changes. It is amazing. Like all of a sudden it starts off like very predictable, and everybody mills around, chit chats, and then something happens. I'm not quite sure what, and it gets deep, man. It's
Yeah.
like, wow.
I could see
Yeah.
that. I mean, the book is so honest and open
Mm-hmm.
and accepting of everything and
Mm.
presents so much of it non-judgmentally, which I think I feel like we've read a lot of memoirs. I feel like you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
see it a lot without that sense of like
Mm.
oversimplification of these supporting characters in a way that just seems very dismissive of them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think,
Yeah, I so didn't want to do I so just wanted to be as respectful while also staying true to the story as I
hmm
could. I mean, look, I could have gone on about my mother, but why? I mean, she's dead anyway. Not that she would read it, but what's the point? Like,
right.
right?
Or even just the
Right.
other
The other
dancers or,
dancers. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
whoever, whoever else in the either Muslim or sort of in Cat Stevens's
Mm.
world, like
Right. I mean, it's
what does it?
honestly, it's the way I remember it. And I mean,
hmm
I did keep journals, which thank heavens for that. It's how I remember it. I really wasn't stressed out, or nobody really got to me or made me, upset. I just too bad it couldn't continue that way throughout
Right.
life. It's sort of unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Just
in
keep trying to
terms,
get back there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Princess Cheyenne, My Life as Boston's Most Famous Stripper by Lucy Wrightman is available right now wherever you get your books. For more information, you can find her on the web at princesscheyenne.com, and she's on Facebook at facebook.com/the only Princess Cheyenne.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?